Somos agua, somos tierra, somos fuego, somos viento. Este es nuestro rezo, sí. Aquí, Chicano, Mexica Connection. Roco Pachucote en la Cali. Desde los barrios de Tenochtitlán, México, Los Ángeles, Califastlán, Kiba, Meteo.
Se estudiaron movimientos de los 4 elementos. Se tomaron los momentos para crear estos centros. Que los tiempos ni los vientos poderán con estos templos. Que no vengan con inventos, falsedades y con cuentos. Somos descendientes de una gente inteligente, utilizando siempre mente sabia como serpientes sabia. Toda la gente que no hay nada diferente, lo que ve, lo que se siente, espíritu presente. Fue invocado, llamado del otro lado, porque todo antepasado lo dejó aquí bien grabado. Que no fuera olvidado y que fuera estudiado, así todo lo creado sea elevado. Somos gente de ciencia honrando creación. Ciencia y religión siempre tuvo conexión. Y México, el ombligo con la luna. Como esta ciudad no hay ninguna.
Ciudad celestial, corazón del mundo. Ahí donde nació mi pensamiento profundo. Águila nopal, la voz del jaguar. Te escribo mis letras con pluma de quetzal. Mi mensaje es antiguo, te canto medicina. Yo soy como una espina, difícil de quitar. Yo soy como una rola de maldita vecindad. Enlocando la gente, te abro tu mente. Yo soy descendiente de esta tierra mexicana, aunque yo vengo del otro lado de Tijuana. La L, la A, Califastlán. Y los que no me crean, mi sangre es mi prueba.
Plazo Camadli, Palemowani, El Hu en la Calico Rocco, Donali. From ancestors who are still with us, guide us, unite us, uplift us through a spiral flow, mind, body and soul, conected con elementos, luna y sol. From the future we flow, trascendiendo tiempo como los templos.
Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa. Aho, aho. Aquí estamos, estuvimos y estaremos. Somos la semilla que plantaron los abuelos. Como pidió Cuauhtémoc, pasaron de padres a hijos el saber de los ancestros. Por los 4 rumbos propagaron este rezo. Pueblos indígenas, guardianes del tiempo. Cuenta de los días anunciaba este momento. Aquí y ahora, este es nuestro tiempo. El sol que nos alumbra, sol de movimiento. Somos agua, somos tierra, somos fuego, somos viento. Y estamos caminando en unidad y movimiento. La gente de la tierra ha llamado a la acción y por todo el mundo se ha escuchado su voz. Afila la palabra, cultiva la esperanza. Abajo y a la izquierda nuestros corazones cantan. Para todos la luz, para todos la paz. Por nuestra madre tierra y toda la humanidad. Mexicas y chicanos, juntos caminamos. El camino rojo, el saber del toltecayo. Somos flor y canto, sonido digital. Músicas nuevas, raíz ancestral. Aceptamos la misión, somos cantores de paz. Tlacuilos grafiteros, danzantes de ciudad. Somos flor y canto, sonido digital. Llamando a los hermanos, es el tiempo de unidad. Es el tiempo de unidad. Meteo.
Somos gente de ciencia honrando creación. Ciencia y religión siempre tuvo conexión. Y México, el ombligo con la luna. Como esta ciudad no hay ninguna.
Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa, Ometeut, Omesiwa. Aho, aho. Ometeut.
Anything is one of a million paths. Un camino entre cantidades de caminos. Therefore, you must always keep in mind that a path is only a path. To have such clarity, you must lead a disciplined life. Only then will you know that any path is only a path.
I'm a warrior from the future, looking at the past, living each moment through life's hourglass. I hold on to nothing, but enjoy everything. I spiral in and out of the Milky Way sacred ring. I carry the blood of my Tata Pancho Villa. Y con mi corazón, sueño noche y día. I fly with the eagles and roam with buffaloes. I ride the winds of time, shoot thunderbolt arrows. Aim 'em come at your heart with a masterpiece of art. Look into your mirror, that's where it all starts. The pain of generations is deep within my soul. I burn my white sage in my abalone bowl, and I bless myself, send my prayer to the sky. I never ask why, I never complain. The way of a warrior is to always stay sane. Do away with fear so your mind stays clear. Then you deal with power, but treat her like a flower. Her poison will devour and eat up all your soul. 6 feet deep, buried in a hole. Your ego got too high and you lost control. And if you don't die from your own greed, that's when age and time starts to feed. No one can escape man's true fate. No one has the power to tell death to wait.
Both paths lead nowhere. One has a heart, the other doesn't. One makes for a joyful journey as long as you follow it. You're one with it. The other will make you curse your life. One makes you strong, the other...
Yo, LA Natives Podcast, Las Aslan Native Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. And yeah, give us that like. Yo. Hit that like button. Everyone that's watching, do us a favor, hit that like button. We got Zero in the building.
Yo, what up? LA Natives, my community. Sorry we're a little late. We had a little bit of trouble with our cars, but nothing really stops this podcast nor this intention. I mean, there's a lot of things happening out there that need to be discussed.
A lot of things, like crazy shit going down. We got flip-floppers. We got the immigration, going at it at the all-time high right now, right?
Mm-hmm. No, and it's something that...
You know what I would assume? I would have thought that these ICE agents would be wearing, ICE uniforms and everything says ICE, ICE, ICE. But you know what I've been fucking seeing? It just says police.
Yeah, which they can buy on Amazon. Anyone can buy that on Amazon. Like it's...
Do you get what I mean, Zero? Sometimes it just says police, right?
I'm going to try to put this picture together for everyone so that they could see exactly what's happening. So that's a good point, Armando. That's going to be one of the points that puts the whole entire puzzle together. Okay? You're right. Some of them have police. Some of them have FBI. Some of them have ATF.
I saw that FBI. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, tell me in the history of any law enforcement action where all three of them were all mixed up like that. You know what I mean? There's one FBI guy, there's one ATF guy, and there's one police, right? And there's one ICE agent. So they're all kind of like from all departments working on one thing, right? Well, what you come to find out is that those patches are available on Amazon. You can buy those patches anywhere. It's not hard to find a patch that says police that looks exactly like the ICE agents.
Like the ones on the screen, right? Like there's a link that you sent us, and they clearly say FBI on them.
Right.
And fucking disgusting, right?
And okay, so, and apparently that patch now operates like an official badge, right? Because I remember from since I was a kid till now, I've never heard any law enforcement or any person just come up to me with the patch and say, I'm that thing. I'm an FBI agent. Let me see your badge. And then they point at their patch, right? The point of all this that's happening is that they're abducting people with no due process. And who is abducting the people? Anyone who agrees with the administration, with the current administration. So you could be a civilian. Because if you really look at who is these ICE agents, I'm not talking about the ones that are decked out in fatigues.
Look at they're clearly police.
Right. Well, that's a police. But there are other recent ICE raids that show overweight, obviously skinhead. I mean, you see their tattoos, and that's another one, is that they have this certain tattoo to them. Okay. It's the same playbook that Nazi Germany used, is that they started to convince the population that these certain people, which were the Jews, were evil and they should be, the people joined in, right? That was back then, though. And Germany was in a shithole.
Ironhide says right here that, they might be bounty hunters, people that are contracted just to get the job done.
I'm getting there.
Damn.
I'm getting there. You're completely right. They're completely right. These are bounty hunters. These are people off the streets. Okay, here, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because if you study the Big Beautiful Bill, you'll see that ICE agents already get paid very well. There's no qualifications. And now they're adding a $40,000 bonus to every single person who says, I'm going to do this job. Right?
It's funny. I've seen ICE commercials, ICE billboards, and they're literally saying we're hiring.
Yeah, they are. Why? You got to put the big picture together like a puzzle. The fact that they're ignoring courts plays along with the fact that they're asking their civilian population to join in. What do they call it? It's like a militia.
Yo, you have the mic, dog. Put the mic up, homie. Like, join in the conversation, dog. Like,
it's a militia, but they're not organizing. It's the government that's organizing these militias. This is the problem, is that every single piece of the puzzle is so out there that it's hard. You can just focus on one and there'll be weeks and months and years of arguing and debating. But instead of looking at it or trying to solve one of those pieces and one of those puzzles, look at it on a bigger scale.
But could it be all smoke and mirrors, like the homie said, dog? Like, it's not like this shit has never been around, right?
Not like this, though. Not like this. Tell me in the time of your memory, and maybe a story of your mom's memory, and I'm sure you met your grandparents, and they ever seen a story where civilians were pretty much civilians?
I can admit,
walking with AKs.
I've never seen so much footage on social media and footage on TV and news outlets as much as I've seen. You know what I'm saying?
Like that whole shit, like that.
Like the homie says, like, this shit could have been around forever since we've been around.
Like, man, California, like
put the mic,
right?
Yeah.
It was 187. That shit was heavy. Like, people were really getting ransacked in factories, and it was like,
but
in the field. So it's like that shit has always existed, but this is now, it's like militarized in a whole different level.
Well, you said it's being propagandized. It fits their narrative now.
At the same time,
there are a few factors,
because the institutions have been existing. It's not just this year. It's not just
like Democrats and Republicans.
Well, no, the whole ICE
right,
institution.
But do you think if Kamala Harris was president, this shit would be going down zero?
Not in this way.
I think so.
It would be going down, but not in this way.
For sure.
And not in this way, because remember, it's one team. It's not the Democrats. It's not Republicans. It's European colonials. Period. It's not Democrats, not Republican. They're never going to be in your interest. That's why it's so weird. It's so weird to hear.
Did Joe Biden really open the borders like how they claim that he did? I don't.
There could have been some policies made with certain countries that allowed this to happen. You got to look at this. Well, this is one thing. Since I've been studying the way the elites move or colonials move, they don't move in 5-year increments, 10-year increments. They move in 50-year increments. So if you move in 50-year increments, you could have been 5 years old when this plan started to develop. It's all one plan. It's there's you can't fool me, because there are things that they're writing in the bill that make sense about what's happening today with ICE.
So you're saying there's bills being passed bipartisan, like both parties are fucking pushing and saying, fuck this, it's already been
they're
planned.
acting like, oh, this is horrible, and this is this and this is that, but pass it. It's one team. It's what's happening to America is that it's being exposed as a colony. And what's happening in the other colony that the world's turning against? Because of all the savagery, all the starving of people. That's a colony. They're not from there. They say they're from there. But the Palestinians have been there for longer, and it's documented. So colonization is still alive. We thought that.
So you're saying this is tied right into what's going down in Israel and Palestine right now?
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's almost identical, right?
Over there, it's extreme.
Yeah, it's extreme, yeah.
Over there, it's like, oh, the actual citizens are fighting back. Right here, we're not. We're like in stage 1. Right? And they have this egotistical leader that everybody hates and everybody focuses on, but they never look at.
When in reality, he's not even running shit.
No, he's
So
just
it's like almost the same shit, right? It's like they say, like, who's the biggest human trafficker in the world? It's like the Minister of Immigration, right? Who's the biggest fucking drug trafficker? It's the Minister of National Defense. Like, it's like we're not talking about individual presidents, and we're not talking about, it's like these systems. Like, okay, this whole drug war or this whole anti-human trafficking, it's like it makes perfect sense for the Minister of Immigration of the United States to be the largest human trafficker, because what is immigration? It consists of human laborers. Like, either way, they're getting it both ways. Like, if you're pro-immigration or anti-immigration, they have their bases covered. Like, at the end of the day, they want human labor, they want people, they want to traffic humans. So it's like, in one way, they're still like, oh no, we're anti-immigration, but at the same time, they want people because that's a whole business, right? So it's like they play both sides, and
they create laws that make it
it's like
okay.
You get to pick a side, but it's not. It's not even about picking a side.
It's the same thing. It's colonialism. Colonialism is the system. How can we exploit the land, and how can we remove the individuals that originally are from there? Now, here's the problem with everything that's happening, is that white supremacy is hitting its moral compass. It's hitting a moral wall. Because now, if you notice, there are whites, pure whites. As soon as they see ICE pull up into their neighborhood, like in front of their cars, telling them to leave. So it's really, this fight seems like it's our fight. Like they're coming after us and they're gonna do all these things. But we're not. It's the same playbook that they're using from Germany, but we are not Jews. We are the biggest sleeping giant on Turtle Island. If people of indigenous descent, meaning we were born on this landmass, we could trace our grandfathers and grandfathers back forever. We didn't cross an ocean. The only one that crossed the ocean were people who had bad intentions and hurt our women, and now we're here. But the resistance has been going on forever. And they take this hierarchy kind of structure where they go, this is the CEO, this is the president, This is the leader. This is the, and that particular person has all the answers. Like, you really think, Armando, that Trump thought of everything that we're doing right now?
Right?
He did not think one. He brought 100 people brought ideas to him and he said, yeah, cool. Did he read it? No. He is not the brains behind this. It's the people that are pushing everyone on the administration to ignore the judges, ignore due process, and give and centralize power into this mythical individual who controls nothing, who thinks of nothing other than going, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're good.
It
Yeah,
does
no,
look
great
fucking.
plan.
It does look fucking weird how overnight, within a snap of a finger, apparently Trump and his administration claim that there's like a 98% drop of like people trying to sneak into the U.S. Like 98% drop.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying for people who used to come here for a better life.
So now they don't even attempt.
Yeah, they're leaving. They're just saying, fuck it. And then, look, we're only seeing America. We get caught up in America. And I try not to do that. I try not to stay in the swamp of this farce.
Are they doing it equally though across all races, or does it just seem to me? It just seems to me it's a fucking full blown hit for Latinos and raza.
Look,
I don't know, bro.
it's
Everything I
just
see on the
different.
news, bro, is just raza and Latinos.
Well, it's different. It's different because we are not Jewish. We were not seeking refuge in Germany and owning businesses and doing unhealthy businesses that the whole population didn't like you anymore. We're not that. They're using that playbook against us, but there are a few factors that we need to look at. Just being Mexican, Central American, all this other stuff, right? Because it's El Salvador. It's Salvadorian people. Well, not really Salvadorian, but Venezuelan, Mexican. Who else? Guatemalan, Honduras. Now,
I haven't seen any Argentinos.
All those countries that I mentioned: Honduras, Mexico, Guatemala. All of those leaders are meeting in South America, creating policy to kick out the United States. So why wouldn't the United States go, oh, yeah? Well, we're going to fuck with your population here. You want to fuck with us? We're going to fuck with you guys. That's what's happening. Not only militarily, economically, policy-wise. Right now, America's on the bottom.
So it's not just a political attack against the other party. Hey, so fuck you guys. You guys lost, so we're gonna pour all the people that you guys claimed would have voted for you guys and got, Kamala Harris in the presidency.
That's so stupid.
Because according to the media, that's all they fucking write on, right? It's just all political.
But think about it though. All the leaders of all the people that are getting deported in the United States, all those leaders are gathering together and creating new policy to deal with the U.S. In other words, for a long time, every single president that went into the presidency of Mexico, Venezuela, Guatemala, Honduras, all those presidents were pretty much trained in Harvard. It was a system. And that's why all the NAFTA stuff happened and all the oil and all the resources started pouring into the U.S. But that's over. Claudia Sheinbaum didn't go to Harvard. At least I don't think she did.
She went to Berkeley, man.
She went to Berkeley. So
I think.
But she's not in the elite club.
But that's naive, man. Like, in order to be a president at any level, whether you're at the elite level, like, you're not just gonna be there if you're not affiliated.
No, you
in the bloodline. Like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like,
be there.
Maybe had an orthodox approach and whatever, but like it's the power shift allowed her to be there because she is in the elite levels. Like, she is bloodline. You feel me? So,
But I'm not too familiar with her background, but what I'm saying is the politics of Mexico has shifted dramatically.
for sure.
It's not the same. What I'm trying to point out is that the president, the last presidents before,
Is Mexico involved on fucking over the U.S. too? Are you saying?
yes, all of this is, look, it's not that they're fucking them over. They're finally got to a place where they're not being infiltrated.
And they're having, and they finally have an opportunity to compete instead of always being shitted on and always saying that, yeah, America's the number one, right?
Why would you think that the president of Mexico would say, oh no, America's number one and we should look up to America? And even though it's fucking, because he's corrupt. He gave land rights away. He gave oil away. He gave precious minerals away. He gave other, like Canada, the rights to mining silver. Why would you do that? He didn't nationalize the resources of Mexico. They started going out to all these US companies and all these European companies. Until that came to a stop when one of the Mexican presidents, and I'm not saying by any means that these presidents aren't hooked up to elites or they come from certain things, but at one point, things are going to change.
Yeah, for sure.
At one point, you can't sustain this no more. And so the families, maybe the families of Europe are going, wait, we're getting screwed here. And it's all because of them. The people that are having the hardest time right now is the UK, Ukraine, Russia, because it's in the war. These are all European things, right? They don't only fight with wars, they fight with policies. And I think the move that Trump's trying to do is trying to make it so chaotic that there's some sort of a disagreement between, I don't want to say it like, I want to use that word. A disagreement between races. And I'm not going to call it a race something. I'm trying to avoid that. But that's what they're trying to spark.
There's this
You know what I mean by that, right?
no, it's like some like it's an old like he's an old scholar. I forgot his name. Albert Pike. He's like he's a high degree.
Mhm.
And he's like World War III is going to be fought between political Zionism and the Islamic world, and then the world's going to have to pick sides.
Well, check this out, guys.
Shit.
This was just announced 4 hours ago from the Trump administration. Check.
From the Trump White House, live picture there at the White House. Well, we are hearing from the president in a video right now, and he is, as the
has underscored the recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. In the 21st century, we've seen one terror attack after another carried out by foreign visa overstayers from dangerous places all over the world. And thanks to Biden's open door policies, today there are millions and millions of these illegals who should not be in our country. In my first term, my powerful travel restrictions were one of our most successful policies, and they were a key part of preventing major foreign terror attacks on American soil. We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America. That's why on my first day back in office, I directed the Secretary of State to perform a security review of high-risk regions and make recommendations for where restrictions should be imposed. Among the national security threats their analysis considered are the large-scale presence of terrorists, failure to cooperate on visa security, inability to verify travelers' identities, inadequate record-keeping of criminal histories, and persistently high rates of illegal visa overstays, and other things. Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. That is why today I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe. Thank you very much.
And back out live there to the White House. So reading from the Associated Press, they say this: the president, you just heard him there, resurrecting the travel ban policy from his first term, signing a proclamation tonight preventing people from a dozen countries from entering the United States. Those countries include Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. In addition to that,
Yo, it's fucking crazy how you predicted the zero, because you just said, hey, bro, he's trying to create hatred towards others.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
the game plan.
4 hours ago, he releases a full-blown travel ban against all these fucking countries.
It's not predictions, bro. It's the playbook. You could see it a mile away.
And they're all African.
And people think
like one of those, I think they said it was Congo, right? Congo. And just recently, like, they made this whole shit because in South Africa they're killing whites, right? Supposedly they're killing white agriculturalists, and so Trump granted them to get visas, right? Granted visas of emergency visas, but they're all white South Africans, and his excuse was like, oh, because they're literally being killed out there in South Africa by.
But they found out that one, that's not
Right.
credible evidence, or they're
Exactly.
It's
And
all
so it's like at the same if you're applying the same logic, like Congo is going through it worse, but now Congo's in the travel ban. Like
we're not taught. Look,
Sudan,
although
Somalia,
don't think of the countries that he just
Is this
mentioned.
really affecting just the random people who live there, bro? Like, no, like they're
Don't-
attacking the leadership
Don't-
over there,
don't-
right? Like if they're issuing travel bans, they're attacking the leadership that represents the people over there, bro.
The one thing that we have to understand in our ancestral ways is that even though you're talking about one thing, it could mean 4 different things. Okay? What I'm trying to say by that is don't listen to the countries that they're saying you cannot travel to because there's a travel ban. Just look at the word travel ban. Okay? Take that word alone. It's kind of like the same thing that happened in 9/11. Remember, we used to be able to walk into an airport without having to stand into a line, without having to show every single thing and going through an x-ray. Now it's normalized.
Now look, isn't just a
1 second.
coincidence though? Isn't just a coincidence though that now I need to get my real ID?
Yeah.
Like the expiration just went out in May, right? So it was in May that it expired, where now you have to have a real ID to travel.
Right. Or a passport.
Or a passport, yeah.
So remember, he just said ID, right? He said, you cannot go anywhere without ID. ID. He said ID in that thing.
He did, yeah.
ID, right? Okay, now.
Those are strategic words that
travel ban.
Yep.
ID. Travel ban, ID. Don't think of this year. Think of 5 years from now. They already implemented it. Travel ban. You can't go to these countries. These specific countries, you can't. But that could change tomorrow. If he
did say, yeah, it could be edited, it could be, updated.
Don't look at the
depending on
countries
the
because
negotiations.
this is the way they slip it in. They slip it in by going, oh yeah, they attacked us. You see 9/11, they attacked us. Now we, for the rest of our lives, got to be checked. Every single second. When you walk into an airport, you're going to be fucking checked. You could be pulled aside. The people that are letting you in the gate can pull you aside and take you into a room and just no one ever sees you again. Don't look at what countries you can't go to. Look at the fact that they're telling you can't go to that country. Because we never lived in a society where that happened. Even when we were in conflict with people, journalists would go and write about it and say this and that.
And I would think, bro, it's now a crime, right? If they find out, like, we go to Mexico and then we go to Congo.
Right.
And then if we're American, that's a crime, bro. Like, us Americans apparently can't be over there. Like,
think of travel.
We're all under a blanket of like, okay, we all serve America. If they find out we're over there, it's a crime.
So think about like this travel ban, right? You got travel ban. He named the countries, but what if you have a friend that just came from Yemen, and you didn't know? You just had lunch with him. Don't look at what country. Look at the policy that's happening. Travel ban. Right now, they have an issue with people of
Yemen,
Mexican descent,
Afghanistan.
No, Mexican descent too, because right now they're sicking ICE. They're sicking all these people on Guatemalans. So they have an issue with that. So what if you can't go to Guatemala now?
It's basically a travel ban with all of Southern America too, right? Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, I didn't hear any South American or Mexico.
Funny how he didn't mention any of those fucking countries, right?
The travel, okay, they're
all African.
Before you would say, it's dangerous to go to these countries and we don't recommend it. And it's going to be hard for us to pass that visa for you to go to that country. But they never said travel ban. It's like, think of 9/11. 9/11, and now we always gotta go through a major, and it gets worse, right? Like, it went from getting patted down through an X-ray machine. Now you have this weird ass fucking thing that goes around.
Now you have this big bucket. You have to throw everything in there and go through the fucking chain, and they have to X-ray it. And then you're right. You go into the little portal.
Right. Now, that wasn't always there.
No, I remember as a kid sometimes, bro. Like, I remember in the early 90s, it wasn't like that at all, bro.
No.
We would scare tickets and fucking just jump on the plane.
It's normalized. It's normalized. Now we know, oh, God, we're going to have to go through checks. We're going to take off.
Bro, I even remember when I was very, very young in the late 80s, I went on a plane. I vividly remember, and people were still smoking on a plane, bro.
Yeah. So we're looking at the wrong things sometimes. Sometimes we're like going, oh, the travel bans. Well, it's not affecting me. I'm not going to Yemen. I'm not going to whatever's. I'm not going until you can't go there, until they say, well, you know what? We're going to add another one to the list. Now, well, it's already there. Travel ban's already here. So be used to it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like if you have a friend or family or you're doing business over there and out of nowhere, you just can't go.
That's it. You can't do it. You're
You're
done.
done.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is what we call critical thinking. This is Alienated's podcast. This is all for educational purposes. We're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to overthrow anyone. This is all done for educational purposes.
Yes.
So that we can be critical. We have a right to question things like in the big beautiful bill, right? Can you play the clip for the one I sent you for it was the Comedy Central one? And then go to minute 55. So I'm going to try to put together the piece of the puzzle using different sources so that you go, oh, look at they fit. Right? One is the political bill, the bill that said that everything's written in, right? This bill has all the budget, what we're going to spend our money on this year. And go to minute 55.
1 minute 55?
I think so, yes. Yeah. And then play from there.
Let's go ahead and get this played.
And I really want your opinion, Mondo. And then we'll play the next one with the ICE agents.
people to give rich people tax cuts. I'm sure there's something in there for the rest of you.
Some provisions tucked into the bill. One of them eliminates the $200 firearm registration fee for gun silencers.
Yeah, let's see, that was added by Rhode Island Representative John Wick. What's the better? Was a better name because this bill is thick and mostly ass.
Here's what's in it.
So they made a provision in there that made it more accessible for anyone in the country to buy a silencer. Why? Out of all the things that are happening in the US, that needed to be there?
That's crazy. Yo.
Okay, now play the Jag one.
Okay, so I need to go on his
No,
his
the
Instagram.
It's a link that I sent you to, so it was from his page. That's why I mentioned him. Shout out Jaguar. He's dope. Cosmic Force. Go follow him. So they made so now pause before you play that. Right, go to the beginning of Jag's page, and so we just found out jokingly that there's a piece of the bill tucked in there, as the lady said, about silencers, because we're talking about anyone right now could be an ICE agent, right? And these are ICE agents. And pay attention to a critical part. Right there. Stop it. Right there. That's a fucking silencer on that AK.
It is, yep.
That's a silencer.
For sure. It's a screw on too.
So now, first of all, why does an ICE agent have a silencer? Why? So he can shoot someone accidentally and no one even hears it?
Wait, was this CNN footage?
This was just random footage, I guess. It wasn't CNN footage, no.
But see how the pieces of the puzzle start to fit now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Silencer in the bill. Fucking random. And then you go see a page and one of the ICE agents on his rifle has a silencer on it. It's not coincidence, bro. Most of those ICE agents look like they just walked off the street into someone. They go, look, man, I got my Amazon bulletproof vest. I got my Amazon patch that says FBI, right? And police. And what is the biggest gripe that everyone has right now? They're not showing ID. They're not showing badges. They're not even identifying themselves. They're wearing masks. So this big, beautiful bill is for everyone who believes in this administration to get silencers, to join a force that's going to pay you $40,000 per immigrant or $40,000 bonus on top of your $150,000 salary. And we're not even talking about overtime.
Check 1 2.
Wally.
Hello, Piali.
Biali. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, thanks for joining.
It's gonna be back.
Yeah, so that's what do you see how I'm putting the puzzle together? That everyone can go buy a patch on Amazon, apply online for an ICE thing. You don't need a badge. You can have all the equipment you want. As a matter of fact, there might be something in that bill where, hey, if you're an ICE agent, you get a free silencer. We don't know. We didn't read that bill. But something about silencers is in that bill. And now you see ICE agents on the street with silencers. Put the puzzle together.
Oh yeah, those ICE agents, they just buy like those highlighter, those bright color vests sometimes too, and they'll just wear that.
Because they don't have to show a badge.
Right.
They just got to say, "Oh, I work for ICE." Can't you see my FBI patch?
Yeah. They don't even say that. They say we don't have to identify ourselves to
Right.
you. Yeah.
This video right here got me fucked up.
Yeah.
Do they look like criminals, Zero?
No. And to them, it's like, they don't know. They're so young. That's the one thing I noticed about that video is like, you just really can't break. You can't really, it's kind of the video's put out there as in, you can't break our spirit.
It's dope though that he had courage to like film himself and do a selfie, right? Like that's courage right there.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about that young kid right there. I spoke to him. I reached out, and I noticed right away that he actually is an influencer. Well, not an influencer, more like he has large account, and what he would do was he would take care of people on the street. He, with his own money that he earned as a migrant working a tough labor job in construction, he would do that on his free time with his money, and he would just record himself being generous to people who need money. I mean, who need things on the street, who don't have shelter and food and clothes and shoes and things like that. So it just means we're deporting the wrong people. We're deporting people that we actually need more people with those kind of hearts and with those souls here.
Now let me ask you though, if Kamala Harris was president, you think all this shit would be going down on the as the media is pushing it out to be?
It would probably not be as that the same sentiment, but definitely the numbers would be the same, about the same, or about the same.
Right, Zero? Just like how you said, it doesn't matter who's in there.
Yeah.
It's all predetermined anyways.
Yeah.
All these fucking decisions are made years in advance.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's 50-year plan. They do.
And she herself said that she was going to do a better job than Donald Trump at it, and that she was going to go hard and she was going to do a much better job against migrants. Yeah. She's definitely anti-brown. So
and the numbers that they're going after in terms of like what their goals are in terms, like, I think it's like $3,000. 3,000 immigrants are supposed to be deporting or detaining a day. Yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting. Now, as much as I'm saying that the policies are being this, and the militias are coming together, the thing is that I feel like there's not as many as they're thinking there is. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not. I seen some things that were really interesting to me, where a lot of YT people were, going up against ICE agents because they don't want to be remembered for the people that supported this horrendous policy. They don't want to be right now, whenever anybody mentions Germany, everyone, even if you were born 50 years after it, they always get associated with that evil act that happened there.
What's HSI?
Yeah, you see, that's another fucked up thing. What's police HSI? Yo, if you guys are ICE, just wear fucking ICE.
I think it's Special Investigations, Homeland Special Investigations.
Like, I thought ICE was just
Is
going
that what
to
it's
be ICE.
Homeland Special Investigations?
But yeah, you see
Homeland
police more than
Security
ICE.
Investigations, I believe.
Oh, security.
But I just don't understand how police is attached to it. So these are federal police, I would assume.
Yeah, because they're being called police now. That's just yeah, that's what they call the homelands now. Police.
That's what I'm saying. That shit's they've been called like this forever. Like this is not new. Like
this is not new.
You can go to fucking National Geographic 7 years ago, and this department is still there.
No, Homeland Security has been there.
No, but like that, labeled like that, police, and that's how they watch. Go to National Geographic, and you'll see these people doing operations with that same vest. So it looks new to us if you haven't seen it, but this shit's really like you can go back and you see.
I understand like that. I understand that Homeland Security has been around for a while. They implemented that a long time. I think that was even Obama. No,
but I'm saying because people ain't badging. They're not badging themselves. They're not presenting themselves. Like that shit's like that's how they've been.
Now this was a raid that went down.
That's crazy. A
couple of days ago, hitting an Asian nightclub, and apparently every Asian in there was an illegal immigrant. They just deported them to like Korea or China or wherever the fuck they're from.
Oh, so this has happened recently, and they're not just deporting people.
2 days ago, an Asian nightclub. Hey, but it's so convenient how they blur all their faces. Right. You know, I don't see them blurring the faces of Latinos and you know, Mexicans.
I wonder what happens if it's just all run. Like, fuck. You're in the city.
And they're all having their face down, too. Like, if you notice, all the Asians, every single one of them have their face down. Right. It's weird.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. They're deporting any different types of people, but this mainly targets brown indigenous people for sure, because they're the largest group. But, yeah, they deport, I guess, because they need to get their numbers up. So they need to make profit, basically, bottom line.
Well, there's problems with the plan.
Well, look at that vest. It just says police.
Right. That's what I'm saying, dude. You could buy that on Amazon. They were showing it. They were showing that.
Here's another one. Detention officer. They're all wearing different fucking labels, bro. That's fucking disgusting.
So that just shows to you that they're using the American population, whoever agrees with this administration, they're using them and paying them a lot of money.
Or it just showing that there's different departments working together.
Yeah, I think that's
what it is.
That's what it is.
Shit. Police department, special investigations, Homeland Security, TSA, all these different departments. And they're all like, they're all interchanging information. Like, we got a tip on this drug dealer right here. Or look, somebody knew that nightclub was cracking. You know,
someone knew, yeah.
Somebody knew that shit was cracking, and it sounds like they were just a nightclub, but they were probably doing some shady shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like somebody knew it from the Department of LAPD or whatever, and then just something happened, or it's an investigation that requires different departments, whether the ATF or DEA or whatever. Like,
and now they have a whole new department. If they don't want to fucking deal with it, now we got ICE. We can just call fucking them, and they'll fucking deal with it. You know,
that's crazy.
I just think it's just a little different, like a little bit more on the desperate, trying to save something. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying, Aurelio, like Homeland Security and ICE and all that has been there, but they were well trained. They weren't all wild and rogue and fucking pants, sagging and fucking Nazi fucking tattoos on their hands. It wasn't that. I think they would have some sort of an interview. It doesn't seem like they're interviewing anybody. It sounds like it's an Amazon ICE type thing. Like fucking fill out the app, download the app and put in your address and put in your ID. Oh, you're an ICE agent.
Yeah, they're deputizing anybody at this moment.
Yeah.
They're contracting private companies to hire anybody. Literally anybody.
Which is why you have sometimes crossing the line and violent, kind of confrontations with people. So,
and see, I think that's the main point. It's not necessarily it's these administrations. It's that
it's colonialism.
No, even on that, like beyond the colonialism, like on the logistical sense, it's like it's like third party fucking companies that operate completely under different rules. as opposed to like a federal agent. So it's like if these motherfuckers getting the contracts, you know, the Homeland Security puts a contract for the city of San Antonio or some shit. And then
and contracts mean funding, right?
Right. Or like we need to outsource because we don't have enough agents, so we have to outsource for a third party security firm. And boom, now they have a third party security firm that does the same shit that an ICE agent does. But because it's a third party, they not only abide by federal laws as an ICE agent, but also they can skew the lines because now they're in the private sector, and then they do shit differently.
And then they can wear any fucking uniform they want.
The problem with this,
it's to avoid liability.
It's like a fucking Uber.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it feels like there's an ICE agent app, and you can just fucking fill it out, and then you're an ICE agent. Like it's not. There's not that much difficulty in becoming a person who's agreeing to cross boundaries, to ignore courts, to ignore their own constitution. You're pretty much just destroying whatever little bit of fucking line you had of any decency. It's gone. If you agree with the way everything's being handled and how people are being treated and viewed.
Yo, I trip out on the video with this kid that's on that van. That's a crazy extreme, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was trying to calm his mother down. He was telling her, "Mom, I'm right here. I'm right here. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm okay."
Now, at the same time, the majority of America,
the kid too, dog. Like
the majority of America is not in agreement with that. Even though it's happening, the majority of America is not in agreement with that.
And that's what happens. It's like that's the shit that you can't control. They might be able to control that person, but they don't you can't control the reaction.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, like when there's complete totalitarianism, it's like they can even control your reactions. But at this point, we're still able to
we still have a sliver of hope.
Shit. We can still fucking have that conscience.
We still have a sliver of hope.
Yeah.
A sliver. It's not very big.
That's why being distracted is such a powerful thing for them. Then you don't really pay attention to this shit.
You see, there's a few things that I've seen on social media that really kind of convinced me. Now, is it going to cure what's happening? No, but it's something that's interesting. It's more like when one takes time to observe nature, you start to see the subtleties in wild animals, right? Even if you live in a city, you can get to a hike where there's a lizard and you look at that lizard and you see how that lizard moves. How it blends in, how it distracts your pupils by moving up and down, up and down, up and down. I was sitting there going, why does it do that? Why does a lizard run, stop, and goes up and down, up and down? Because if you're trying to focus on it, it's hard to focus on something that's moving up and down. And so then it stops it right away. And it has the color and it just blends in. When we start to observe nature like that, you could start to observe societies in the same way.
Now check out what this fool Tom Homan said today. Like he just talked today about this bullshit.
Bullet in their heads. You're responding a bullet in their bystander who filmed, and you heard that one bystander who filmed himself and posted it on social media that he wanted a bullet in their heads. Your response to that and all the rhetoric that led up to that.
It's disgusting. And a lot of our congressional representatives who are driving this hate. And I'm telling you, at a time before there's an incident where an ICE agent is going to have to take a life or an ICE agent is going to lose a life. I mean, here's the truth. Under President Trump, since he's been back, let me tell you what ICE and the Border Patrol has done. They gave us a nation. Fentanyl trafficking is down over 50%, which means we're saving lives from overdose deaths. Sex trafficking, women and children, is down significantly. Migrant death. Over 4,000 aliens died making the journey. They're not dying because they're not coming. Americans, 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl. Like, again, fentanyl is under half of what was coming across. President Trump's saving lives. The men and women of ICE are saving lives every day. And if you look at the numbers don't lie. Majority of people ICE is arresting are criminal illegal aliens, public safety threats. And the non-criminals, most of them are scooped up in sanctuary cities. And you're right, the world's upside down when the guy that carries them badge and guns, the bad guy, and the ones who break the law are the victims. It's just terrible.
He doesn't have a badge and gun.
So that's his update to the American people.
He doesn't. He's all, oh, it's sad that, the guy with the badge and the gun, the respectable guy.
Yeah, you know what he is? He does have a point. It's a fucking matter of time that one of these ICE agents is going to get killed because of his bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's not. It's not.
And then he said it's a matter of time that one of these illegal aliens are going to get killed by an ICE agent.
The crazy thing is, it's like, all right.
I'm surprised that no one's been killed yet, to be honest with you.
That whole shit, that travel ban, right? Because of the terrorist attack. Like 4 hours after that, they already had a resolution for it. But like, when you see all the most recent terrorist attacks, they've all been like American and nothing has been done. And then boom, something that had to do with a foreign happens and boom, now 4 hours later, they're already responding.
Yep.
So it's like,
yeah,
kind of weird.
It's
4 hours later.
No, we got to look at, I know we look at the policies and shit, but
do you agree with them though? That matter of time that someone's going to get killed, Zero?
Well, of course, they're going to push it. They're going to push it and do it. They're actually going to do it, not care. They're already trying to push that boundary. What they're
with the silencers, right?
With the brick wall, though, the brick wall, right? You heard Tom Homan go, fentanyl's down, sex trafficking's down, everything's down, and you want to change everything? You want to go back to having your freedom? You want to go back to that? That's what he's saying. He's saying trade my freedom for this exaggerated version of reality where anyone can be pulled over if they're brown enough, if they can't speak English enough well enough, and then taken away without due process and housed for how long were they housed, Wally, for over there? Remember that one facility that was overhousing people that they were catching because they weren't prepared to deal with that? That this is what's happening.
I just did.
So Tom Homan's explanation of fentanyl's down, this is down. Yeah, but your
human
population
trafficking is down.
Yeah, but your population is terrified by the people you hired. And then you double down and go, well, what are we going to do? We're going to hate the guy with the badge? They don't have a badge. They're not going, hey, I'm an ICE agent. I've been trained for 3 years and I suspect that there's a dangerous Venezuelan. So everyone who is not in the gang, can you please leave the house? Not, wait, Tia, come over here. Let me check your fucking, oh yeah, take her too. No, they didn't. That's how you deal with it. If you're a professional and you're dealing with dangerous people, you don't, it's kind of like, this is what I hate about the war on drugs. The war on drugs was so, we're going to go fucking get the war on drugs. And who did they go after? Cannabis growers. They used all those multi-million dollars to go after people who never had guns, who only had a dog, who was growing a little bit of weed. But they made it seem like they were just fucking tearing down the drug scene. That's the same thing that they're doing with this immigration thing.
Every time I see this fool Tom Homan, he's on a fucking rampage. Bro.
Yeah, because he knows
he's on a fucking rampage.
He knows that he's sending untrained individuals. They're not vetting them at all.
Right.
And they're putting people in dangerous situations. Of course, someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And when someone gets hurt and we're not prepared to deal with the impact of it, then the dysfunction and the chaos happens. But you know what? You got to go back to the big picture. The big picture is that they're doing it right in front of your face because the beautiful bill says provision for silencers. Then you look at the ICE agent's rifle and there's a silencer on it. So he's taking advantage of that. They're preparing their own population to deal with in an untrained manner.
They're thirsty for an ICE agent to get killed because once that happens, bro, they're just gonna ramp it up.
Well, it'll be martial law,
Yes.
probably.
Yes.
It'll probably be martial law for one
But that's
ICE
the
agent.
goal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll probably be that. See, they're already trying to tell you travel banned. Oh, an ICE agent died. Now no one can leave nowhere.
And they recently said, Donald Trump said you need to do whatever it takes to get more arrested migrants.
Yeah.
You know, trying to ramp up more violence. That's why we saw what happened in San Diego and all this, because they're trying to, you know, take it up a notch.
They're trying. Tom Homan's whole spiel right now was you're safer than ever.
Right. But it's not true though. Like
Exactly.
the fentanyl does
Not
not
true.
come in. Fentanyl doesn't come in on the migrants' backs. And if you're an educated, informed person, you would know because you do research, and the numbers from their own department, from ICE, that they publish shows that the fentanyl does not come on the backs of migrants. It comes through trucks, through the border, through BP, Border Patrol. It comes through those cartel connections, those U.S. citizens, those corporations, those U.S. cartel members that are working with the Mexican cartel. They have their ways of bringing fentanyl in here, and it's not on the backs of migrants.
Yeah.
So those are just lies to manipulate the masses.
But if you look at the big picture and take away all the policy and all the rhetoric and all the supposed leadership, right? Because it's not Trump.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Trump. Can we at least here in LA natives know that it's not Trump? You know, if the chat agrees with me, please put it in there. It's not Trump. It's not him.
He's just a spokesperson.
He's not even a good spokesman. He's a worse spokesman. It's not him.
He's the face.
He's not even, yeah, a little bit, kind of, you know? There's other people like the Speaker of the House who's trying to take more stage than him. Elon Musk took more stage than him. So he's not really even the face.
He's
just
the
like
face now.
He's just like this
face.
guy that, just picture Donald Trump, the guy that goes, yeah, go for it. Good plan. Yeah. That's him. Never the guy that's on the computer thinking of the plan, fucking plotting, fucking doing the math equation. He's not that. He's not relevant. What's relevant is how we perceive what's happening. And we as a community are being targeted like in the 1940s. There's a big difference though. In the 40s, everybody was European descent, right? Here, it's white people against people of color. And this is the problem. They spend a lot of time and a lot of energy. Remember, this is a 50-year plan. They spent a lot of time and a lot of energy with Obama and the 8 years that he did and how we have overcome and there's no race issue. But then they figured out, whoa, there's a big population here though. And they kept talking about the Latino vote and the Latino dollar. And they have to contend with our population. So this is not a surprise. Look at the bigger picture. This is not a surprise that they're pushing the gas on us, on our people. Because they feel like this is their country, manifest destiny.
Mm-hmm.
This is mine. Who cares if your ancestors were here long ago? Who cares if this was Mexico and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was not followed and every other treaty that was written in your name with your grandfather's name wasn't followed, it wasn't broken. If Donald Trump had a contract and the contract was breached, he would preach that it was null and void. So you breached every fucking contract with us. So everything you said was null and void. we got to put the big picture together and understand that we're one community. And I mean one community, not Mexican community. And because when we start to separate in that way, anyone who agrees with not violating people's human rights, giving people due process, giving them the chance to say, hey, you know what? I'll leave voluntarily. You don't need to fucking put me in jail for a year. I'll leave by myself.
Yo, I have to play our classic video, bro.
Trump, when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If he were to deport all illegal immigrants, if he were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore.
Yo, that's the clap though, bro. That shit, we won't control our destiny anymore.
There's a problem with that though, because no matter how hard he tries, no matter how many Trumps get voted in, it's already dying. And this is what I'm trying to point out, to look at the bigger picture. When we think critically, we don't think at one particular thing. We have to look at the bigger picture. And even though just because he's rich and just because he got put on a page and just because he shared his voice doesn't mean what he said is true. It takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of wisdom, and it takes a lot of medicine to become someone who can articulate those type of things. He's just been a rich, arrogant person who believes that not letting in Muslims and deporting everyone is going to make his people live longer
and fulfill their destiny.
Like, that's not what our Tlatoanis would say. That's not what we would say. We would say, oh, we got to build communities stronger and we got to create bigger spaces and we got to, so that our people could live longer here. Not, hey, we got to get rid of everyone and start using everything and not care about anyone but ourselves.
And this is why I voted for Trump.
Yeah. That's his mentality. What were you going to say, Quali? I'm sorry.
No. I'm just agreeing with you on that. Yeah. Our ancestors were different. Yeah.
We're different. And that's I'm so glad that the female said that. Our ancestors.
That's the video of the year, bro. I'll be honest with you, Zero. I fucking love seeing that shit.
Well,
because these motherfuckers are delusional, bro.
They are. That's another good way of putting it, is that they're delusional because you don't make your people live here longer by hurting others. You don't. You just don't. Not in that way. It's almost like, in the Middle East, where they feel like if we destroy everything, we just can just live on it. And it just doesn't work that way.
But it's like that saying goes, it's like in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty, right?
Right. It's like
bro.
Like instead of creating policies, instead of creating good business plans, instead of coming together as a community and going, how can we utilize this land for the both of us and it commemorates both of our families? Not, we need to annihilate all of them. Every single one.
And if they're going extinct, it's their own damn fault. No one is genociding them. They're genociding people, non-white people. But no one genocided them, and they're the ones that are going extinct. Whose fault is that? It's not our. Why do they take it out on us? Like, that's not our responsibility.
Yeah, it's like it's not intelligent. It's really not intelligent, right?
Right. If you're going extinct, then maybe they should focus on not going extinct. And that doesn't mean to genocide everybody else. That means they're not really a civilized people as much as they believe they are.
Right. No, a civilization has science, math, art, spirituality. all the foundations that all the ancient cultures had. And they weren't perfect either. They had their own issues as well. I'm sure there was. But what I'm saying is that once we start violating a human, once the atrocities of children dying, I relate to that because if we look back at our history, it was a lot of, when you read the ancient books, or I mean, not the ancient books, but when you read the history books that they wrote it themselves. Our genocide consisted of knives, not AK high-powered atomic weapons. Our genocide was knife one at a time. They would cut the bellies of our pregnant women. This is the truth. And I'm not complaining about it. But there's been a long history of their violence. And the thing is that their children are starting to not want to be a part of that history no more. Is it going to change overnight? Absolutely not. And it shouldn't change overnight because we need to come back to our wisdoms that keep us safe. We need to come back to our medicines that keep us safe, our energies. There is no God, it's an energy. How do you mix in with the energy around you? This is the important things. And everyone has a starting point. Some are further advanced because they've read lots of books, and some are midway, some of them are barely starting, but we're all one community. That's a big part of this process of letting go of their colonialism. It's almost like a person that just doesn't want to let go of their abuser. This is the way I feel about American Cholo, bro. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. He's the biggest flip-flopper in the history of YouTube.
I mean, I'm
bro.
not trying to debate him. I'm not trying to say anything like that, but I'm just saying if you understand true history and you can't blow it off with like, oh, well, that happened back then and this is now, and I have $100,000 house or $200,000 house or $300,000 house, and I got money in the bank and I have a banging truck and I have a dope podcast.
And I'm a manager at a construction website, at a construction site.
Right. It's like, that's like falling in love with your abuser because you have a little bit of money.
Right.
But I'm not criticizing you, bro. I'm not saying that, but you admitted to voting for Trump. You're the one that said, hey, I voted for Trump, but I really don't like what's happening now. It's like, dude, it's too late. And not that the vote even mattered, because I see the big picture. Man, it's so clear in that big, beautiful bill who gets what. Who gets what, right?
Right. Right.
You know, that bill is cutting all the Medicaid, or whoever is in whoever's poor is going to really struggle. Unless we become intelligent, unless we start utilizing tools and technologies that can benefit us. Because I really, really honestly think, and this is just me, but I don't feel like the whole population of America is down with Donald Trump's policies.
Mm-hmm.
Voting for Donald Trump? Absolutely. I voted for Donald Trump. Do I regret voting for Donald Trump? Absolutely.
I just don't understand how
Why
he's
does
such
he
a
regret?
flip-flopper. Yeah, exactly. Like, did this naive man didn't think that knowing that Trump was campaigning throughout his whole campaign to do this, it wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, there's no reason to.
And now
trust
he's
this
posting
man.
videos of migrants getting arrested at construction sites. I would think, yo, American Cholo, why don't you start promoting the pro fucking deportation videos, bro? Stand your ground. You're a Trumper.
See, this is what I'm talking about, though. This is what I'm talking about. Because it's not easy. It's not as easy as saying, oh, yeah, I just voted for a guy who feels like we need to tighten down the borders and we need to this. But now that he sees what's happening, He's like, whoa, wait, I didn't sign up for that.
I call them Americans, from all walks of life of this continent. And it's mostly hardworking as far as the Trump administration going after, workers. Hardworking, I call them Americans, from all walks of life of this continent. And it's mostly they're Latinos, Hispanics, Chicanos, whatever you want to call them. And that's why I've got that back there, because that's what we are, man. Central American, Latinos, Indigenous, Mexican American, Chicanos. I came up with that acronym years back. At first, I got a positive response, and then here came the bickering.
Yeah. I don't want to fucking hear your shit.
Well, I mean, the thing is that,
Shout out to American Cholo, though, but hey, dog, stick to your fucking roots. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought, you would have been the biggest fucking, pro deportation guy there,
But then again, I'm telling you, though, it's like there's concentration camps that they're doing. They're just doing a lot of things that I don't see anyone supporting. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like how people are trying to force their way into believing.
Well,
okay,
Quali just said it, but Quali's been saying it for weeks now that a lot of these people who voted for Trump are probably regretting it.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah. Right, Quali?
Right. That's true. And there's a good amount of people that do support it, unfortunately.
But
there's a bit of both. There's like people
I'm not
who
trying to
choose to not support us, and they say it pretty loudly, and they're not showing up at any protests. Like a lot of the people in the Black community, Asian community, they're not really showing up. It's mostly white people showing up.
Those are the most important, though.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, there's
a lot of white people defending, anti-deportation. Right?
I'll tell you why, because
there's a lot of brown and Black people in ICE.
Yes, that's true. Now, that's the backfire, right? That's the backfire, I believe. That's the chink in the armor, right? But there are a lot of white people that are just going like, I'm not down for Nazi Germany stuff.
That's
right?
true.
And because it's just common sense. It's kind of like, Mondo, can you pull up there was a lawyer, a Jewish lawyer, and Pierce, one of those commentators. God, man, I wish I had it. Let's see if I could find it. But they were trying to convince this Jewish lawyer about how Israel, like they were, one of the commentators was trying to say that how many civilian count or children count has Israel killed?
I think I found it.
Okay, let's see.
I know exactly what clip you're talking about, because it's making a lot of noise, dog.
Right.
On Piers Morgan's channel.
Yes.
Fed up with the arguments that he's been hearing from. Piers Morgan has gotten increasingly fed up with the arguments that he's been hearing from defenders of Israel on his program in a way that I think is symbolic of a broader shift in Western media and politics going on at the moment. There have been a couple of viral moments just from the last 24 hours. One of those we wanted to play here. This is Natasha Hasdorf, who is a UK lawyer who represents Israel, and went on with both comic Dave Smith and Piers Morgan, though. You'll see that
this is the one, right?
That's it.
Dave Smith.
Even other people are covering it, right? Like,
it plays the same role that you're going to play in this, which is just watching. So let's do that.
I was told by the ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this war.
I don't believe that was the case. I
That
think it
was.
was to do with
and this comedian is Jewish, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he is. He's Jewish. This guy to the left, he's Jewish.
I don't know.
targeting children.
No.
And there is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that couldn't be further from
Well,
the fact,
last week, 9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors
you know-
reside were killed in an airstrike.
Well,
what was
isn't it
that?
remarkable?
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
You don't
and
believe that
secondhand
story?
Information. I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated before the international media runs with it. I have.
You think those two parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children?
I have questions.
You think that those two doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are
that
those
9 of their
children
10
there?
children had been blown to pieces
Yes.
by an Israeli airstrike?
If this is true,
You don't believe it?
well, why on earth was artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first
I
happened?
got to say,
We've seen
Natasha,
time
I think
and
what
time
you've
again.
just said about that
Piers
family
Morgan, we've
is,
seen
is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm
and time
sorry,
again.
it's despicable.
What is truly
As somebody, you
despicable-
talk about blood libel, like Dave said, you talk about blood libel, you talk about lies,
All I said,
you talk about
Piers,
promoting
was that there were
propaganda,
conflicting
and here you
accounts.
sit here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were
I
killed.
didn't say that. You're putting
You
words
did?
in my mouth.
Do you believe it or not?
I said that there were conflicting
Do you
accounts
believe it?
and it needs to be
Do you
investigated.
believe it?
I thought you would be the
The parents
first
said
person
9 of their
that
10
wants-
children were killed.
They
Do you
haven't-
believe them
they
or not?
haven't- they
Or
haven't
did those
said
2
that directly.
doctors make it up?
They haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I've seen second-hand accounts and hearsay. But it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there? Why is it that
Actually, no, it's important to us whether you believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want to know why the international
You don't, do you?
community...
You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel
Why are
generally
these
now, in this war now.
Palestinian civilians-
Israel says they don't believe anything.
Coming out of
Everything,
Hamas,
every
indeed.
story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza,
Because there is a
someone
track
will
record
pop
of
up
lies.
representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda. It's not true.
Crazy, yo.
So what I'm trying to point out is that you can't convince us that it's okay just because fentanyl is 50% down.
Right.
And sex trafficking and all that stuff is down. And we don't even know if it's down. Really, we don't. Who has the proof of that? You're just saying it is to further the agenda of not following due process, not training people properly, and not doing what you say you're going to do is go after criminals, not innocent people. The problem is not, I don't think I would have, I don't know. I'm kind of, when it comes off to that, but the point is that you're not doing that. You're doing something completely different and you're telling us that you're not. Just like that lawyer is going, wait a minute, we got to see every single credible thing. You know, the bullet in the children's head, that doesn't mean that.
She's basically echoing everything that the Jewish administration, the Israel administration says, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we have a right to go and look. Journalists have a right to go and say, hey, you know what? This is what I saw. Israel is right. They are using people as human shields. No one knows because you kill everyone that goes there. So I think they're trying to soften us into this state of like, no one follows rules. Due process, what is that? That's not even a thing. What are you talking about? You follow our way or you don't follow it. Or you're labeled someone a rebel or whatever they're trying to say that you are. An activist. Right? The judges that disagreed with Donald Trump or not even him. The people that disagreed with his administration, they're activists. They shouldn't be listened to. When that was the only thing that America had was, okay, well, at least they're going to have a trial. And now that's not even happening. And you're going, well, it's not me. I'm an American citizen. They'll never do that to me. Well, until they do. Because those policies, that travel ban meant everyone in the country. What we just listened to a few minutes ago that was released 4 hours ago, that means everyone in the country can't go there. Am I right?
That's a trip, yeah.
I'm 50 years old. I've heard warnings. heavy restriction, but not you can't go
Go where?
to any
basically
There's a travel ban in 12 countries.
Yeah, in 12 countries.
Yeah, there's a travel ban, 12 countries.
Because of the terrorist attack that happened in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Which could be, what do they call those things, Aurelio? Red flags or
False
flags? We don't even know. But there's so much chaos happening. We don't know.
So we're saying the U.S. citizens can't travel
To certain countries.
to certain countries.
And people, they think of like that and they go, well, I don't go to those countries. I'm never going to go to that country. I'm never going to. But what if that list got bigger?
Right.
It's already there. We didn't have any list. Now we have a list. And it can be added to.
It's just the beginning. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right. This is 100. How many days?
It's Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Guyana, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and of course, Cuba and Venezuela.
There you go. Oh, now you can't even go to Cuba because before you could go to Cuba. But now you can't. What the fuck did Cuba do?
I know.
Really? I think that's a Marco Rubio thing. But one thing that we have to do is come together as a community, regardless.
Definitely.
Be as creative as we can with each other. And know that just because they say things doesn't mean that it's actually true. They're the biggest liars on this planet. Nothing about them gives me confidence that they're going to know how to handle the shift that our ancestors predicted in 2012. As a matter of fact, it's going faster than I expected. Because the play is to regurgitate hate and bigotry and violence to lead you into a new era of wisdom, connection. This is what our ancestors predicted. They predicted that we were going to shift into an era of wisdom. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to be wise. It just means that we're not going to be ignorant anymore to individuals who don't respect the land, the air, the water, the fire, the people. There wasn't mass deportations in our time. There was only communication, sharing, disagreements, fights, but never mass genocide. Never that. We have to critically think what side we're on from this point on. We'll see you next Wednesday. Tlazocamatli, Umeteo, Tonantzin.